And you know, like how you be like, hey, hi, how are you? Or like people greet you and you smile back and you just showing Ubuntu to people, and people would mistaken it as you flirting with them, or you like, especially like guys, I found would mistaken it for flirting, and I'd constantly be like, oh no, I'm sorry, I just genuinely like your shorts, or I just genuinely like your shirt. What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time, welcome to my channel. If you're a returning subscriber, how's it? What kind? Now, before I get into today's video, I just want to apologize for the noise. The AC is like booming behind me. But in today's video, I'm going to talk about things I wish I knew about before I moved to America. Now, this is just my experience. Don't come and attack me. I'm literally speaking from my experience. Some of you are already here or have been here for 20, 30 years. I'm only like 2 years in. So I'm literally speaking about stuff I didn't even know before I got here. And I also just didn't do a lot of research about America before I came, which I probably should have. I have notes. So if I'm looking down, I'm looking at my phone. The first one is, I didn't realize, like, I heard this a lot of times, like on social media, like the cultural appreciation and appropriation. But when I got here, I couldn't understand it, because I've had people, even like I know Indian girls on this one group, where back home they would braid their hair. And for us in South Africa, it's not like you being rude to the culture. If anything, it's embracing the culture. I don't know if you guys understand what I'm saying, because for my cousins Lobola, I've had friends who are white who wear like the traditional clothing and come to the event, and like my cousins in-laws love it. Vice versa, I've had a Punjabi, a sari, I've worn them back home, but here, even just wanting to do henna, I was always like skeptic, because I was like, oh my gosh, there's the whole cultural appropriation and cultural appreciation, and just having to figure out which is like appreciating the culture and which is appropriating, or I'm guessing like which is dissing the culture, where I found very interesting, because I know back home we're such a diverse country and people always appreciate it. Like even when I would like respond in Afrikaans, the other white Afrikaners would be like, hey, you know, like they're like, or they would help you, they'd help correct you, but it was mainly out of love. So it's pretty interesting coming here and seeing a whole different story. My second one was, and I didn't realize this, and I'm not meaning to bring it heavy or anything, but I did not realize how people always say this, and I was like, okay, whatever, we had apartheid. But I didn't realize how hard it actually is. And when I say hard, I mean like how some places are still discriminate in broad daylight. Like there is racism in South Africa, don't get me wrong, but it's more, I feel like our racism, it's either spoken, like I don't know how to say it without offending like Americans, but it's more like it's more hidden. I don't know if that's the right word to say. It's more hidden. Whereas here I've had experiences where I've gone into a salon and like people would like make me wait to serve me, and then a white person walks in and they instantly serve them and look over me, and I'm like, hey, I've been in the line for so long. Or just certain incidents, and mind you, this is not the whole of America. It also just could be the state I'm in. And then I've also had vice versa, where like I've had black people here think that I'm trying to be bougie, I'm trying to be a coconut, until they hear my accent and they're like, oh, you're not from here. Or not even my accent, until they hear I'm from South Africa. Because at first they're like, why you talk like that? Why you sound like that? And then when I say I'm South African, it's like, oh, and you see them like relax and like get comfortable with me and then start talking. My third one, with the pandemic it calmed down, but I knew about this in South Africa and I was like, oh, okay. But I didn't realize how severe the mass shooting is in some states. And I was, well, my first year, I think it was like 6 months into being here, we were at a mall, and the mall, I don't know, there was like a glitch or something, but anyway, the electricity switched off for like a few minutes, and I was in Forever 21, the electricity switched off for a few minutes in the mall. It just like, you know, like flickered, and everyone had to freeze, and then like there was like a loudspeaker saying, remain calm, stay in your position, you know, that kind of stuff. And I was in the fitting room and I was with a few other girls, and I remember being like, oh my gosh, Jesus, I can't be a mass shooting. That was like the biggest fear. And I know some people here, I have like American friends who are like, they try to avoid going to public places because of that. It's like a genuine fear. So like massive places like malls, libraries, anywhere where there's like a lot of gatherings, they try to avoid it because nobody wants to get shot. And I was like, I find myself thinking that way sometimes. And back home, that was something I never had to think about. Now, don't get me wrong, we do have shootings in malls and we do have like murders and robberies in South Africa. this video not to paint America bad and South Africa good, that's not it. But I was just saying, like, I didn't realize until I got here and how I had to literally be like, oh my gosh, back home I'd be like, oh, load shedding. Let's be honest. Like, if the lights flickered or something like that happened, I'd instantly think load shedding, and that would be it. Or would, like, the least it would be like, I would never be like, oh, somebody's getting shot in a way. Whereas here, the first thing I thought, I was like, oh my gosh, there's like mass shooting. And in December in South Africa, you guys, if you guys have been to South Africa in December or are from South Africa, you know how crowded the beach is in Durban in December. And I'm not afraid to go to it. I don't really want to go because it's busy, but I'm not afraid to go to it because I'm gonna get shot at. That's not it. Whereas here, I wouldn't go to crowded places like that. Number 4 is the tax situation. So back home, when something is 5 rand, it's 5 rand. You pay your 5 rand, you walk away, you go. I remember I was at Times Square and I gave, like, they said what's this thing? I was getting coffee and it was like $2 or $3. And I gave exactly $3. And the guy was like, you owing like what, 50 cents or something like that. And I was like, but it's $3. And he's like, no, you owe 50 cents. And so I was like, oh, okay. And I had to like dig for $1 to give him. But I was like, what? And I constantly got confused. And then I was like, I spoke to my host at the time and I was like, oh. And then I realized that they pay tax after, so, or when you're buying something. So if something's 5 rand, for example, it'll be 5 rand and 50 cents. So yeah, that's how it is. And I was like, that's interesting, because you get to the till with something $6 and then you leave and it's like $6.11 or $6.01. I just wish they would just round it off, like just put the tax in the way we do it back home. But it's a whole different country, and that's the joys of visiting other countries. Number 5 is the tipping situation. So in South Africa, you tip, and I like to tip people because, you know, some people don't make a lot of money, especially if you're a waiter. I was a waiter and tips go a long way. But I realized here, tipping is like, you kind of have to tip, and there's even like a tip on top of a tip. So you're going to some places and they tell you like they're going to take 5% of whatever you eat or 10% of your eating, and then at the bottom they still like you must tip more. And the only time I've had problems is when like people have been absolute trash, like when waiters have just disappeared on us or not being happy. But you feel bad because it's like the culture, you have to tip in America, which for me, even at our orientation, people are like, you kind of have to tip. It's like, it's standard, basically. It's standard. You have to tip when you tip. Whereas back home, like with Uber, how many of you guys used to tip your Uber? I remember on a few hands where I tipped Ubers and it's because they were waiting for me to get into the house, or certain things that went above and beyond. Whereas here, some people would do the bare minimum or not even do their job properly, but you still have to tip them. And that would like, that would like irritate me sometimes, because it's just like, dude, I don't want to create entitlement, but at the same time, though people don't earn a lot, so you should tip. I'm not complaining, but that was like one thing where I was like, oh yeah, you like have to tip. And then it's like, how much do you tip? The standard is like 25% of your order, but then it's like, do you go above and beyond? I try to go, well, this is not about me. And then my last point, which is point number 6. So in South Africa, I come from South Africa. We are very bubbly nation, country. We're very friendly. I don't care what race you are. You can say you're not a friendly person. I used to say this all the time. I'm an introvert. I'm not friendly. But when you come to America, you are. You know, and I had this in the beginning a lot of times where they would mistaken it with flirting. And you know, like how you'd be like, hey, hi, how are you? Or like people greet you and you smile back and you just showing Ubuntu to people, and people would mistaken it as you flirting with them, or you like, especially like guys I found would mistaken it for flirting, and I'd constantly be like, oh no, I'm sorry, I just genuinely like your shorts, or I just genuinely like your shirts, or I just genuinely like held the door for you. And I'm not saying Americans don't do this, don't get me wrong, but I found that they can easily mistake your niceness for flirting here, and we like in their face. I don't know how to explain it more, but it was like, I've had conversations with girls here, American girls, and they're like, yeah, it's definitely a cultural clash, because they would be with me and he'd be like, dude, why are you flirting? You have a girlfriend. I'm like, with who? What's his name? Like, I don't even know his name. And they're like, and I'm like, oh, just by me being like, you know, you could do this, you could do that. And we also raised to have manners, like South Africans. And this was told, an American actually told me this. So I didn't even notice this. They have met like they've met an Indian, a colored, a white, they've worked with different South Africans, and they're like, you guys have a lot of respect. Like, you guys are taught like to respect elders. And she's like, it's not just you. I've seen it with quite a few other Americans that I've interacted with. And I was like, well done. But anyway, that is it for today's video. Do not forget to give a like, comment, subscribe. What are the other things? What are the other things you guys wish you knew before coming to America? This is mine. As I said again, do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye.